about the largest living thing on Earth, you probably don't think about a tree like this, but you'd be wrong. Let me explain. We are a people obsessed with the biggest, tallest, and oldest things on Earth. Everest, the Grand Canyon, Niagara Falls, sequoias. Every year, hundreds of people flock to see these natural wonders simply because of how big, deep, or old they are. But here, there are no lines of people, there's no overcrowded parking lots, yet right behind me is the largest living thing in the entire world, and you've probably never even heard of it. This is Pando, an unassuming grove of aspen trees in southern Utah, and even though it may not look like it, this is the largest living thing in the world. That's because aspen trees grow a little different than most trees. They can reproduce and grow from a seed just like any other tree, but it's not their preferred way to reproduce. Instead, aspens would rather clone themselves. Each of the trees you see in this forest is a genetic clone grown from a single seed. Thousands of years ago, one of those seeds fell here in southern Utah and grew to be a single aspen tree. But as its roots spread out and matured, it started doing something different. It started sending up stems like individual branches of a tree, yet each one of those stems is a tree all its own, until it became thousands and thousands of trees, all connected through its roots, sharing nutrients and water as one single giant organism. It's this cloning and spreading that has enabled this grove of aspens to become so large. I am on my way to see if I can spend the night inside the world's largest organism. I came out to southern Utah to get a feel for just how big Pando really is, walk among these century-old trees, and experience firsthand what most people take for granted. And all aspen groves reproduce like this, but this particular aspen grove has been doing it the longest, spreading out to over 100 acres and consisting of over 40,000 trees or stems. Just how big is that? Well, this single organism is larger than 100 football fields and weighs as much as 13 million pounds, which is about the size of 30 blue whales, or 3 times the size of the largest giant sequoia, the General Sherman. Now, there are a couple organisms competing for the largest living thing on Earth. As I mentioned, the General Sherman, the largest living giant sequoia, is about 1/3 the mass of Pando. A similar organism in Oregon, the humongous fungus as it's called, is a single living fungus organism that's spread out over 2.5 square miles. And while it takes up more land space, Pando has more mass. And then there's this aspen grove in western Colorado. It holds the record for the single largest continuous distribution of aspen trees in North America. And scientists believe there could be an even larger aspen clone somewhere here among these trees. We actually don't know because it's never been DNA verified. Now you may be wondering, why do aspens grow this way? Well, they are uniquely adapted to survive the most common threats that forests face. Aspens don't have thick bark like pine, fir, or other trees to protect them from wildfires. Their bark is thin, and when a fire rips through a grove like this, it tends to boil the sap inside, killing the tree. But roots can survive and can shoot up new stems quickly, taking over an area before other trees can germinate. It's that unique adaptation that makes aspen trees like this not only the largest, but the oldest too. But just how old, we don't really know, because unlike a regular tree, you can't cut it down and count the rings. And any one single tree is only about 100 to 150 years old at most, but the root system is estimated to be between 80,000 to 1 million years old, older than the last ice age. But that could be changing. Before I talk about that, I want to talk a little bit about the different content on this channel. If you watch this channel regularly, you may notice that I'm trying a lot of different content. Everything from videos like this about the giant aspen groves to some of the more scientific gear testing. All of it relates back to the core focus of this channel, which is hiking and backpacking. I love backpacking, and I love the outdoors, and I love the gear that makes those things possible. But what wouldn't be possible is making videos like this if it wasn't for my sponsors. Yep. There it is. Look, I know what you're thinking. A lot of you don't like sponsor spots, but I mean it when I say that I couldn't make videos like this without my sponsors. I spend up to 80 hours writing, editing, and filming videos like this, and I've got a family of 6 to feed, clothe, and house. It's sponsors like Garage Grown Gear that allow me to do this full time. And so, if you love backpacking the outdoors and gear as much as I do, it would really help me out if you would check out some of the gear that they have on GarageGrownGear.com. Stuff like these little fans that blow up your air pad running off of a battery bank, or the smallest and lightest 10,000 milliamp hour power bank in existence, or the tent and quilt that I used while filming this video. They have tons of backpacking gear, both ultralight and cottage industry gear. They have become the longest running sponsor on this channel, and the co-founder has become a personal friend. If you're into backpacking, go check them out. I really don't think you will regret it. Now, back to how Pando is changing. So it is actually pretty difficult to get a feeling for just how big Pando is because large portions of it have been fenced off to protect it from us. Not because walking or even camping among these trees pose any significant danger, but because we have overhunted the area's natural predators that keep deer, elk, and other grazing animals in check. Grazing animals like to eat the young, soft aspen stems before they have a chance to mature. That means that as the older, established trees die off, there are no new trees to replace them, which is why this fence was erected in an attempt to protect any new stems until they have a chance to grow and mature. But that's only one problem facing Pando. We have also spent the last 100 years preventing forest fires from burning through this and similar areas. Aspen groves like this thrive after a fire, sending up hundreds, even thousands of stems that can grow for the next 100 years or more. But by limiting or extinguishing fires to protect property and infrastructure, we could be stunting new growth. And then, of course, there is the warming climate. Because of the way aspens spread, they are able to move up and down mountains like this one to find their preferred temperature. But as I'm sure you can imagine, the process is very, very slow, much slower than this area has been warming. So even though this grove has lived thousands of years, surviving countless threats and natural disasters, it may have finally met its match. But there is hope for Pando at least. It's actually kind of interesting. I am just above the fence that surrounds most of Pando. And up here where I am, you don't see any saplings, but down there where the fence is, you can see tons and tons of saplings down on the forest floor, which makes me think the fence is working. This is good news, but if Pando is a microcosm of the threats all aspen groves face, there are significant problems to overcome. Pando has about 90 of its 100 acres fenced off, but fencing like this is expensive and can't realistically be erected everywhere, which means something else has to change, or Pando and other giant aspen groves may be lost forever. If you're interested in helping out the Pando clone, I recommend you check out Friends of Pando. They have opportunities not only to donate, but to also volunteer here inside the Pando clone. To be clear, they are not sponsoring this video, nor do they even know that I'm making it. I just think that this aspen grove is worth saving. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, and do all those other things. And as always, thanks for watching.